We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Andrew Meyer, Miami Dolphins center, number 60 right here. We're going to go over his film. I actually thought he showed some nice potential in this game. I like what I saw out of him, out of like those, developmental offensive linemen. I think he was the one that showed me the most. Very, very good athlete. That's kind of what you saw on tape coming out of UTEP. And he went out there and you could see the athleticism, his movement skills in space. I think he did a decent job, climbing second level, playing with pretty sound technique too. Still needs to work on overall anchor and play strength, but I think he showed improvements compared to college, but still needs to keep developing there too. And then sustainability, I think being able to strain, keep these blocks, going for a while, better, grip strength and stuff like that. Those are your key development points for him. But it seems like he's been doing a better job in training camp, getting more and more looks there. And then we have, this game, you get to see him out in space, really understood his job. And then, so he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on, because with the Isaiah Wynn, injury still being on PUP, that gives one of these younger offensive linemen a chance to kind of win a roster spot. Like, there's a roster spot up for grabs. But if not, I do think he is one of the prime 50, or not 53, but the practice squad candidates. Like, out of the O-line group, he's probably the top one for the practice squad. I think he does a good job, especially this rep right here. Straight up nose tackle. They run a lot of outside zone. When you're on a nose head up like this, you got to be able to get your head across, like, guarantee. And he gets across just instantly, then gets his hips in the perfect position. Sometimes it's just about leverage. Like, he's not going to be the type of center that goes out there and just moves a bunch of people, but he knows how to move himself, and then just winning that position and leverage battle. And that's really half the battle in this scheme that the Dolphins run. And then strain, that was probably his best rep all day versus the run. He had some other pretty quality ones, but I think he could do a better job with his sustainability. Like here, getting off the ball, just kind of like throws his shoulder in this guy. He's trying to help Driscoll get control, so he's kind of just carrying it for a while, and then get up to the second level, cut off the linebacker too with angles. I just think he could do a better job overall using his hands here to sustain these things. But you can see the athleticism, him fire off laterally, quick feet overall. The footwork shows off in the outside zone scheme and also in pass protection. And he's able to at least cut off the linebacker to slow him down. I just think when he gets to second level, those things could be a lot cleaner. So it's just like little details at this point, because he has that athleticism to get there and understands his responsibility. It's just about angles and then hands, good placement as well. I like this combo. This is one of my, I think the O-line overall did like a decent job, but I think they kind of struggled to climb to the second level for the most part. Here's a decent one from Meyer where he works down the combo. I like how low he gets. He attacks the low hip, creates movement laterally on these guys, and then he's able to get off in time and then square up the linebacker. I think he does a pretty good job here. And then he's able to, but you want to see him sustain a little bit longer. Like, he squares him up. He has some hands. He's trying to reset, and then once he tries to reset, he kind of just whiffs him. But he's at least able to slow him down long enough, and then create a little bit of a push too. But he's got to be able to just hold his blocks for a split second longer on these running plays, because he's getting to the right spot and has the athleticism to get there, but just not completing all the way to the whistle, which is something that you really want to see. But the potential is definitely there for Meyer. I feel like out of the younger O-line group, he showed a lot of stuff. Here's a really just good job recognizing the blitz, good mental processing of the play. He's kind of, trying to slide to the left here, because they're sliding pass protection and then pulling the left guard. So that's going to leave this lane to open up. 71 knifes to the insides, though. He uses his hands. Then look at his eyes, finding 45. He knows he has help here from this guy. It's just a numbers thing. And he's able to come off of it and just do a good job slowing that down. Much better overall play. Staying square, good base, good bend in the lower half, but it's really all about the mental side of the game, the instincts, the processing on this type of play, where he was able to see that and slow that down. So really good work from Meyer. Here's just a straight up one-on-one. I want to see more, true pass, pass sets where he just gets a true one-on-one. His center is probably the one where you get the least amount of that, just due to the nature of the position. But it's nice to see him attempt to anchor. Like he did look not as bad here, because in college there was times where like if he was in a situation, he just got pushed into the quarterback. Here he was definitely, you could tell that he definitely put on some strength, but he still needs to add to it for sure. Once because he faces like top tier NFL talent, if he ever has to play, I think he would still struggle there. But it's nice to see him at least have some improvement. He even loses his balance a little bit. You can see the ankle flexion here, that he's still able to, recover, which is nice. Because it looks like he's going to fall over. He's able to recover, reset his hands. He gets too far over the top. His legs are slipping out beneath him, but he's able to get back into a decent spot again. Gets a little bit of help from the right guard, but overall, a decently impressive play with body control to regain and then get in a decent spot. Give Mike White enough time to throw that ball deep down the field, which is nice. This is just some solid redirection skills, because I feel like he doesn't do the best job here with his technique, especially in the lower half. Just the way, he gives up too much space. I think he needs to have a little bit of better base, like he gets a little crossed over. But the ability to still redirect and use that left hand, look how he uses that inside hand. It's like you need some stopping power in that inside hand when they try to cross your face. And he's able to slow him down, then bring his feet back across with this hand. So decent job with the redirection skills, and then the refitting with the hands too. Those are things you want to see out offensive line, because things are not always going to be perfect. You're not going to have these perfect reps. But I feel like, Meyer was doing some better stuff as the game went on. I still think he needs to work on his spacing and stuff, because I feel like he's sliding a little too far to the left, getting on Harlow's toes and stuff. Like he needs to be a little more to the inside. But he was getting back on track. That inside hand was showing off some power. He was bringing his feet with him. He did a better job with his feet here, not like crossing over, and now he just sticks with it, sustains, doesn't allow him to cross his face. I think he has really good job recovering. This is something like Patrick Paul had a really good game, right, at 52. I think this is something he kind of struggled with, is that inside stopping power counter move, like to the inside. He's got to be better, like bringing his hips across. I think that's probably where Meyer was at his best in pass protection, was that recoverability, and it's nice to see him, after oversetting, getting back into a decent spot. Here's another example of him just kind of throwing his shoulder into D-lineman. You can see, some of the lateral athleticism. He gets out there in space and will try to cut you off. But I do think he needs to do a better job once he's in the spot. Now flipping his hips, cutting off, and then using your hands. Sometimes he tries to, go too far. He needs to do a better job of using his hands in those situations for sure. Just wanted to show this one. This was the trick play with Malik Washington. We just get to see some of the movement skills out in space. One, he gets down. He gets a body on a couple people, throws his body on there for a D-lineman, then throws his body onto the edge. It just slows these guys down and doesn't allow them to read the play. So this is a good job, one, setting this up, kind of just throwing his body into people. And then still, after throwing your body into two people, still getting out in space to run for a while. Like, he had no one to block. But you get to see he moves pretty well out in space here. That's shown off. Like, obviously, there was no one within 20 yards, so Malik's going to pass him by the time they get down the field. But it was pretty impressive to see how he set that up and still had time to go out in space. Like, if there was someone there to hit, he would have been in a decent spot. This was probably his worst rep. Like I was saying, sometimes he plays too far over the top, doesn't play with his hands, so I think technical issues can be a problem, and it happens both in the running game and the passing game, and that was kind of like the biggest example right here where the D-lineman took advantage of it. Just needs to play overall with the better balance there, and play just with more consistency. That's the thing. I think he's still learning the nature of the game, but like when he had, was put in a decent spot, like here when he was just going one-on-one with nose tackles, he was doing a much better job in pass protection, because I think, he didn't have to slide to a specific way, get out slightly out of position, and then have to recover. Here was just him straight up squaring someone up off the line of scrimmage, able to get good hands, makes it the hand placement easier. His hands are in the chest. He's then able to reset his hands. He was playing with a better base, though you could see the flexion in the lower half. He was able to anchor better, so those are the types of plays you want to see out of Meyer, and it was happening at a more consistent level. Here, he's coming off the ball. He thinks he sees 40 blitzing. It doesn't happen. Then goes over, helps the right guard, gets hands on him, but you could see some, like, he is able to cover ground pretty fast. Like, I love, like, right here, he just, like, really shifts his feet, like, hits those little shuffles to the side very, very fast, and then once he gets engaged, he's also able to shuffle back, recover. It's just, I think it's just, cleaning up the little technical details to Meyer's game, but there's definitely something there to work with, which is nice. And then just another rep, him winning, nice to see him. When the guy raises his hands, shooting into the chest, try to push him to the ground, just playing with that overall consistency. So Andrew Meyer shows a nice development process, I think. Athletic player, fits the scheme well. The Dolphins don't really have any, they have backup centers, but they're not really true centers. They're more of guards that can play center for you. So I do think they're going to 100% either keep, like if, Isaiah Wynn's injured, they could just keep Meyer on the roster, or they're guaranteed to keep a center on the practice squad, and I think at this point it's going to be Andrew Meyer. So I do expect him to stick around unless he were to get claimed, but I don't see that happening unless he really shines in the preseason. like every single game and the Dolphins decide to cut him, which I think that would become less likely. But yeah, if you guys love the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe,